Dr. Anand, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Very much, sir. Very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sushil is a good friend. I hope he will introduce me after the end of this talk. Basically, we will tell a short story. A 25-year-old lady with a very good academic performance, even though she has a DiGeorge facies. She had a large ASD, right aortic arch, aberrant left subclavian artery with bicuspid aortic valve when she was an infant. At 2 years, she underwent a pericardial patch ASD closure. Between 2 years and 5 years, things were assumed to be normal. 5 years, she was noted to have cyanosis. They suspected pulmonary AV malformation. Then she grew up, she completed her high school, she started developing recurrent headaches and polycythemia. She was evaluated for the headache by a neurologist and advised some migraine medications. Then at around 20 years, she started to become breathless when she joined a college, and she was noted to have a saturation of 78 to 80%. She was diagnosed as possible COPD and started on inhalers and theophylline. At around 25 years, a detailed cardiac MRI was performed for evaluation of cyanosis. Now that cardiac MRI shows RA, RV underfilled, LA, LV adequately filled. Sagittal view shows the entire inferior vena cava is committed to the left atrium. So basically, during the surgery, the ASD was patched in such a way that inferior vena cava was directed to the left atrium, but it was not recognized till she turned 25 years. So for 23 years, this lady has been receiving, the right ventricle has been receiving only superior vena caval flows, and that explains the hypoplasia of the right ventricle. This is the first pass gadolinium effect of an injection from the inferior vena cava. We can appreciate that only the left heart fills when we are injecting into the inferior vena cava, saying there is no communication between the left atrium and right atrium. The QP by QS was 0.4. RV by LV volume ratio was 0.3 on MRI. There was an acquired RV hypoplasia. The echocardiogram shows an intact atrial septum, RA-RV being small, LA-LV adequate size. And here you can see the short axis parasternal view, inferior vena cava completely committed to the left atrium. So this is IVC going into the left atrium. We did a contrast CT to assess the patterns, how far above the inferior vena cava. So we can appreciate here that the inferior vena cava is going towards the left atrium, superior vena cava towards the right atrium. The thickened pericardial patch is seen here. And so what is the plan now? So we can repeat a surgery to reroute the inferior vena cava back into the right atrium by removing the previous patch. But what are the issues? There is an RV acquired hypoplasia for the last 23 years, and RV volume is 1/3 of LV volume. So after the surgery, RV is going to be inadequate, and so RA pressure will increase. The reason being, on cardiopulmonary bypass and aortic cross clamp, when you are trying to make the RV pump against the entire pulmonary circulation with the whole systemic venous return, that right ventricle may find it difficult. So one of the options will be we can fenestrate the patch. But if we fenestrate the patch, the cyanosis will persist, risk of paradoxical embolism will persist. So we analyzed the CT further. This is the inferior vena cava with the hepatic veins, and this is the place where the thickened atrial septum was there. So SVC is draining to the right atrium, IVC to the left atrium with a thickened pericardial patch in between. We made some measurements of how long is the inferior vena cava, how far above the hepatic veins is the IVC anchor. So the upper limit of hepatic veins were defined here. And then we looked at what is the length between the inferior vena cava to the place where the atrial septum can be punctured to drill this inferior vena cava back into the right atrium. So certain measurements were made, and we identified that we have a 2 centimeter anchor of the inferior vena cava, and then we have to puncture the septum below the place where it enters into the superior vena cava. So our alternative strategy was, we will put in a covered CP stent to reroute the inferior vena cava towards the right atrium after a septal puncture through the pericardial patch. Now this right ventricle is hypoplastic. It may find it difficult to accommodate the entire IVC return, but now we are going without cardiopulmonary bypass and without cross clamp. So the right ventricle will be able to tolerate a larger volume, because this right ventricle is not insulted by the usual surgical insult and the cardiac and the myocardial ischemia due to cardiac cross clamp. If the right atrial pressure still increases, we can manage with diuretics. This is a non-surgical strategy, so avoids the risk of reduced sternotomy. Yet another possibility that we considered was to reroute the inferior vena cava into the right atrium and debulk the right ventricle by a bidirectional Glenn shunt, so that the right superior vena cava can be connected. But this will be doing something more and more. So we decided for an alternative transcatheter strategy. So we decided that we will puncture the septum 2 centimeters above the hepatic vein. So we identified this point as the place where we will do the septal puncture. And so, the septal puncture should not go above the level of the SVC. So this is the SVC-RA junction, so that we will be able to get it into the right atrium. So after making these measurements, we identified this is exactly the point there we have to puncture. And this is how a covered stent has to be placed to route the inferior vena cava towards the right atrium. So after this, one more measurement that we got, we measured what is the size of the inferior vena cava in order to assess what is the size of the covered CP stent. We can identify that it is 32 millimeter into 24 millimeter. So if I make it circular with a covered stent, probably I need something like a 28 millimeter stent, which is an average of these two dimensions. So with this, we put in a 28 millimeter balloon, and I'm able to completely occlude the inferior vena cava, indicating that if we put a covered stent of 28 millimeter, we will be able to get a good grip around the inferior vena cava. Then the second step is to identify the superiormost hepatic vein, which was the left hepatic vein. So this is hooked with a SIM catheter and then exchanged into a pigtail. So now there is a pigtail that is running in the left hepatic vein. We make an angiogram to see the anchor zone. So this is our anchor zone, and this is in a corresponding lateral view, the anchor zone. We made a measurement of what is the anchor zone here. On a measurement on an AP plane, it was 30 millimeter, and on a lateral plane, it was 24 millimeter. So we stuck with the idea that 28 millimeter is going to be the final. We did a transesophageal echo, intra-procedural. The inferior vena cava is now committed to the posterior left atrium. The superior vena cava is committed to the anterior right atrium, and this is the thick pericardial patch that we need to puncture now and create a pathway from the IVC towards the RA. So this is a septal puncture needle. Contrary to how we will puncture an atrial septum, here we are anteriorly directing it. So in terms of angle of the Broken-Brough needle, it is not 6 o'clock, it is now 12 o'clock. It is directed completely anterior. On lateral view, we are trying to poke through that pericardial patch, but the patch was very rigid. It's a 23-year-old pericardial glutaraldehyde tanned patch. So here we are hitting against the atrial septum. You can appreciate on transesophageal echocardiogram, but we are just staining the septum, and in no place we are able to enter into that the pericardial patch atrial septum. We made multiple stains, but we are not able to penetrate at all. So we decided to electrify the needle. We connected an electric cautery. So this is with the cautery now we are burning, and this is the cautery induced bubbles that are produced. And now we are able to penetrate, and we entered into the right atrium. After entering into the right atrium, we advanced a coronary guide wire. And this is a coronary guide wire that goes all the way into the main pulmonary artery to secure our path. And then we advanced further the needle and the sheath into the right atrium. So now we have got it into the right atrium. We snared it from the superior vena cava in order to get a stable access. And once we got a stable access, we put a marker pigtail, and we injected from the inferior vena cava to identify what is our landing zone till the point of the septal puncture. At the same time, we also repeated another angiogram from the superior vena cava to find out how much of distance we have below the SVC-RA junction. If you carefully see this picture, the superior vena cava is here, and we are just at the level of SVC-RA junction. So obviously the strategy cannot be going towards the superior vena cava. We need to turn the catheter towards the right atrium. So we pulled back the catheter and allowed it to drop into the right ventricle. So this is the inferior vena caval catheter going through the septal puncture into the RA into the right ventricle. And once that is achieved, then we put in the Lundquist wire into the pulmonary artery. We dilated the tract. We advanced a large 24 millimeter sheath. So this is a 24 millimeter sheath that has gone through the pericardial patch into the right atrium. Now we are bringing our covered stent. How do we plan our covered stent? We remeasure the whole dimensions, and now with the pericardial patch, we have 2.5 centimeter anchor zone from the inferior vena cava. We also made a parallel injection from the superior vena cava to find out how much of protrusion should be there into the right atrium. So adding all together, we needed a 5 centimeter long stent. So we took a 7 centimeter covered CCP 10 zig, which will foreshorten to 5 centimeter when we dilate it to 28 millimeter. So a 5 centimeter covered CP is ready, but we should not occlude the hepatic vein. So what we did was the lowest 1 centimeter, we cut it out. So you can see here, last 1 centimeter is cut out so that that part is bare, which will allow the hepatic veins to flow, and the superior part is intact. With that, we entered into the right atrium. Now the problem is this superior end should not go into the tricuspid valve. If it goes and pokes into the tricuspid valve, then the tricuspid valve will start leaking. So we turned to RAO projection and identified that we are before the tricuspid valve. So now on a lateral view, we are inside the right atrium, but on RAO view, we are proximal to the tricuspid valve. So the positioning is fine. Once we have reached that position, we started inflating. The inner balloon is now inflated. Now the first 1 centimeter of the stent is now anchored across the atrial septum, and then we dilated to full level. And now we have got a waist on the pericardial patch, which gives us stability for the stent. 1 centimeter is protruding into the right atrium, and the lower part is now into the inferior vena cava. However, this is 24 millimeter. It's not 28. So we took out the 24 balloon and post-dilated with a 28 millimeter. Now this is larger, 28. This is the final angiogram. Here when we see inferior vena cava is committed through the covered stent into the right atrium. The hepatic veins are draining normally. This is in hepatoclavicular projection. Inferior vena cava is draining into the right atrium. Then the blood goes into the right ventricle without any filling of the left atrium. This is the left atrium. There is no filling of the left atrium. So this is a selective hepatic vein injection. We have a pigtail that is monitoring the pressure. The whole of the inferior vena caval pressures was between 8 to 9 millimeters of mercury, which indicates that RV was just able to tolerate that entire systemic venous load. And this is the inferior vena cava, the hepatic venous injection, showing that the blood flow was adequate. So then this is the original picture. Inferior vena cava directed towards the left atrium. This is following the covered stent. You can see that covered stent is directing the blood towards the right atrium. This is the left atrium and this is the right atrium. So previously it was going to the left atrium. Now it is going into the right atrium. And then 1 month follow-up CT, inferior vena cava and superior vena cava are draining towards the right atrium. Now I will show more and more cardiac structures next. So this is inferior vena caval stent going into the right atrium, superior vena cava going into the right atrium. The whole thing is right atrium. And this is the posterior left atrium where this is not filling at all. This is the posterior left atrium. This is the anterior right atrium. We could appreciate the RV is slowly building up in its volume. LV dimension was 5.13, RV is 4.58. So RV is slowly developing now in the 1 month period. These are the individual hepatic veins, all of which were draining just below the level of the covered stent. So this is the final custom covered stent, multimodal imaging. They provided sufficient information to perform the first transcatheter rerouting of inferior vena cava back into the right atrium. Thank you very much for your attention.